These are some of the tools we might use today to order decimals. We will be ordering least to greatest the following decimal numbers. Go ahead and decide which tools you want to use. Choose 2 tools so that you can check your work. Pause the video now to gather the tools you want to use for this problem. Okay, let's order these numbers from least to greatest. I'm going to start with using base 10 blocks and how I might represent that with these tools. So let me think. If this is one whole, I want to do 12 hundredths. So this is 100 and I need 12 of those hundredths. So I can create just 12 out of the 100. That's pretty small. What would I do for 1 3 hundredths? Well, that one would be much bigger because it has one whole and it has just 3 hundredths. So I know so far my greatest number between these two, this is the smallest and this is the greatest. Let's look at these middle ones. 5/10ths or 50 hundredths. I need 50 of these hundredths or 5/10ths. I would use 5/10ths. That's half. That's bigger than that, but not as big as this one because I had one whole and some more. The last one's a little tricky. 51 thousandths. How might I represent that with the base 10 blocks? Pause the video and have a chat about it. Well, 51 thousandths, if this is a whole, that's 5 hundredths. That means I'd only have 5 little hundredths and then 1,000th. I can't really show that 1,000th with this model, but I know that it would be very, very tiny piece of that. So this number is even smaller than that one. Now that we've built this, go ahead and use a number line to show where you think these decimals might go on a number line from what we've built so far. Pause the video and give it a go. Okay, let's see what you were thinking. For me, I know that my fractions help me with the number line and help me connect to the base 10 blocks. So I'm going to use this as my one whole and this part as the 0. And I know that 1/10 in a fraction is the same as 1/10 of my base 10 blocks. So I know that half of that is going to be 5/10ths, the same as this. And I'm going to use that as a benchmark for my ordering. A benchmark is a number that really helps us solve the other numbers and estimate. And I know that halfway, 5/10ths, is written 5/10ths, but that's also the same as 50 hundredths because I have 5/10ths and 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hundredths. So I already know that this number is right in the middle. It is half of my whole. Well, let's use that logic then. If I know this is half, thinking about to what I built before, where would the other numbers go with this benchmark number, 5/10ths or 50 hundredths, helping me? If you haven't yet, pause the video and discuss where might I estimate that these go, not doing exactly, but using my knowledge of what I've built to find where they go. Pause now. Okay, I remember that 12 hundredths was quite small. If I go back, it was quite small. So it was 1/10 and a little bit more. And if I use my fraction 1/10 and a little bit more, I'm gonna guess it's gonna go just past that 1/10. So I'm gonna put that one there. Now 1 300ths, well here's one whole. 300ths is only 3 little hundreds. So that's going to be pretty close to 1. I can estimate pretty closely. And I already have the 5/10ths or 50/100ths. So now I'm at this. And you'll remember, that was really small when I built those 500ths, and I couldn't even build that 1,000th because it's so tiny in my model. So I know that that's going to be even less than the 1/10th and 200ths because that's 1/10. So it's going to be maybe about halfway between because it's almost half of that 10th and 2 is just a little bit more. So I'm going to put it about here. This is 51/100ths. So using the benchmark and what I know about the size of the others, I can then estimate where they go on a number line. The challenge to end this lesson is how might you use place value discs to put these in order? If you have time, pause the video and give it a go of how you might use that tool. Let's look at our thinking on place value discs. Your thinking may look similar to mine or a little different. I notice when I do line up the numbers that I can compare the quantities to make which is larger and which is smaller. So which is going to be bigger? The one that has more value in the ones place or the one that has more value in the thousandths place? Well, I know 1,000th is much smaller than a 1, so this is going to be my greater numbers, and these will be my smaller numbers. I think for me, I want least to greatest, but I'm going to start with the bigger because I think that might be easiest. This one has 1, so that is definitely going to be 1 300ths, the biggest number, so I'll put that here. So I know this one's done. Next out of these two, which has the most tenths? That would be the bigger value. And I noticed that this has 5/10ths and this has only 1/10 and this has none, so this will be too small. This one would be my next one, which 5/10ths or 50/100ths is here. So that will be my next biggest. And I've used that one. Now I have comparing these two, which one is larger? Well, this one has tenths and this has no tenths. So I know that this has to be smaller because it doesn't have any tenths. And that is 1/10 and 200ths. So that's my next biggest. And that would mean last but not least, the smallest should be the one with 5/100ths and 1,000th will be my smallest value in my place value chart. Does that make sense going least to greatest? I've checked them all off. Finish the lesson with discussing, of all the tools we used, which one or two tools do you think is the best for you to order decimals from least to greatest?